So we went to all these places, and we got to Vietnam, we got to Saigon, and I just went, stop the bus! Like,
Wow.
this is it.
Okay, so I'm with my new friend Emily Huckson.
I
Emily, thanks so
think,
much
how
for
come on?
thanks so much for doing the podcast. Emily is really a unique lady. She's from Canada and she lives in Vietnam, which is such an incredible place. And like you're a teacher, she's an actor over there. She lives in the great this amazing city, Ho Chi Minh City or Saigon. I'm going to ask her what they prefer over there and why people call it different names. And she is a part of the Saigon Players, and we'll post that too, Emily, on the podcast, so that people, if they do go to Vietnam, they can come see you guys, see a theatrical production at the
Yeah,
Saigon Players.
we
But
can always
Emily,
use a plug.
my first question to you: why Vietnam? Why? What makes Vietnam special, and why did you choose it?
Oh my God, there's so much. The answer will go on for 30 minutes. I originally had left Canada, moved to Japan because I wanted to get teaching experience, and I heard, being an ESL teacher was great, and it was. I met fantastic friends, and I loved the culture. I've still got great friends that we get together every 2 years and see each other. So I'm still very connected. However, I hated my job, hated, and as a matter of fact, the principal of the school brought me into the office and said, "You're too enthusiastic about your job."
This was in Canada?
No, in Japan.
Oh, in Japan. Oh,
So as
wow.
a teacher, I thought, okay, I I don't want to go back to Canada yet. I still want to figure out Asia. So I did a trip with a couple of friends, just boom, 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 boom. So we went to Thailand, Nepal, um, Indonesia, and Vietnam. So that was 1992. So we went to all these places, and we got to Vietnam, we got to Saigon, and I just went, stop the bus! Like,
Wow.
this is it. I met incredible, lively, wonderful people, took us under wing, showed us all around. It was cheap as chips,
Yeah.
and it was, and also you could see potential. Like, it
Yeah.
was still, still starting to grow and build up again. It wasn't paved like the rest of Asia. It wasn't Singapore, Japan, or Korea
Yeah.
where it was all, there was
So
opportunity.
it was
So
just
I really,
rustic.
really,
It was
I
just
really was at
rustic
the right
enough.
place. Yeah, I was at the right place at the right time, and so I moved here in '95. Started up a little school. I was the only international school in town, and now there's like, you're tripping over them. There's millions of them now, but
Yeah.
um, it was just the right place at the right time, and I just, okay. There's no snow. Everybody's my size. The food is fresh and delicious and clean. I can take the bus like that. I don't have to stand on my toes.
Yeah.
It's easy to get around. It's freaking beautiful country. The people are just wacky fun. Like, they have a really good sense of humor, and um, they're very kind. Pretty much every friend I have does volunteer work of some kind or another. Like, very giving. During the COVID shit show,
Yeah.
I saw humanity in a whole new way. We were all locked up. We couldn't go outside our neighborhood. There was police at every entrance and stuff. But there was like a neighborhood watch, and everybody chipped in. And if somebody needed something, the message got around, and people cooked, or we looked after each other. So it was just that humanity came forth. That was Vietnamese are just very generous, loving fun people.
Yeah.
Also, Vietnam, as you said about the theater, it gave me a platform to explore not only starting up my own business and school and stuff like that, but also like doing my own thing, not working for a company, but also the theater part of it, like doing, yeah, I'd always been acting, but then I got into writing and directing, and we wrote this whole series of sketches called Missed Saigon, like Missed,
Yeah.
Missed Saigon. And we did them in bars and raised money for charity. It was great. But the premise of the show was how the expats and the Vietnamese miscommunicated, misheard, misrepresented, like all the foibles and the funny that comes into, misheard. For me, like when you call somebody in a restaurant, you say, Hanoi, like Mr. Hanoi, Hanoi. I thought they were saying Hanoi, like the capital city.
Yeah.
So that was one of our sketches, was this know-it-all saying, oh yes, and whenever you want the waiter, you just say the capital city. You know what? Hanoi, Hanoi, and the audience understood the joke. And so it was that was just one of the many different things that we did. But again, it was raising money for charity. It was meeting like-minded people. It was, doing something different than going to bars. And so Vietnam has given me so many great opportunities
Yeah.
for self-exploration. Like you will never, ever be more challenged than when you go to another country. You become very complacent at home, very whiny and whingy, and you get somewhere like Vietnam or Brazil or Mexico or the Philippines, and you go, holy cow,
Yeah.
look at how the other side lives. It's amazing. And they're still, generous, loving, kind, fun. So
Yeah. That's
it
great,
humbles
man.
you.
It
It
sounds
humbles
like
you.
you found your place. And so
Yeah, for sure.
let's jump into it. As far as like a visa for people that want, well, to get a visa there, is it complicated for people that want to move there, retire there?
Yeah, it is complicated, but
Okay.
it can be done. I mean,
Okay.
there are things that are complicated, but the idiom is you can always find a way around it in Vietnam.
Okay.
So there are uh, business, excuse me, business visas,
Mm-hmm.
and there's also like a temporary residence card.
Okay.
And the business visa is something you would do from your home country
Yep.
through an agency. For
Okay.
me, because I work as a substitute teacher part-time, the school actually supports me. So uh, what's the word? They sponsor me.
Gotcha.
But you can also find a sponsor through various agencies as well.
Mm-hmm.
And there are a lot of people here that are retired. There's also an investment, um, is it called investment retiree or
Okay.
investment, something like that, if you buy condos or you invest money in business or something, you can get what's called a TRC, a temporary residence card, that
Okay.
goes anywhere from 2 years to 5 years. When in doubt, come over and figure it out, because it can be done. And the other thing, I hope, good news down the pike, is that um, word on the street is Cambodia is probably going to do it first, but they are looking into packages, retirement packages. They're looking at what Indonesia has done, and Thailand, and the government has been teetering about this issue because they worry about the burden. But if you have certain things in place, like you must be well covered in medical coverage, so you're
Yeah.
not going to be a burden on. And
Sure.
and that kind of, and you've got a certain amount. Like in Thailand, you have to prove each year you've got X amount of dollars in your bank and you can't work.
Sure.
Those kind of, I think it's coming. I like to feel positive enough that the government is going to figure out that's a great way to make money, because
Sure.
people would love to live here.
Yeah.
So,
Well, if you think about a lot of people, you know, there's like this kind of issue in America where there's so many people that don't have retirement, and many people are just living on Social Security. So in a place like Ho Chi Minh, if you come over there with everything, utilities, groceries, everything, what can people get by on
I
today?
think it
That's the
depends on, first of all, where you live. You
okay.
know, certain areas of the city are more expensive, popular, because there's a lot of expats that live
Okay.
there. I live in a more Vietnamese area, and there's even more uh, Vietnamese areas in different districts. So depends on it depends on where you live, and you know, and it depends on what you want. Like, do you want a full house, or are you happy with a little, you know, an apartment, or like a Airbnb, not Airbnb, but like a guest house, what they
Mhm.
call a guest house, where it's, you know, a split kitchen, but it's shared, which is what I did the first couple of years that I lived here, because you get to know people, you know, and you have somebody to hang out with.
Yeah. If
So
you
I think it could be anywhere from, say, about 500, 600 US to, for me, I pay probably a little over 1,000, but I have a house, I have what I call a house angel. She's
okay.
been, she's been with me for 28 years, 27 years, and she cooks and cleans, and also when I'm doing a production, she helps out finding wacky, you know, uh, props and things like that. So, you know, if your service department, most apartments here are already furnished. You just bring your
Okay.
clothes and move in. And, you know, again, depending on what area, you can get a nice little apartment for probably 400, 450 US a month.
Mm. Okay.
Other things like the biggest expense would be electricity, because that's your air con and your refrigerator and your fan.
Okay.
And I have a 2-bedroom house. I have my air con on at night in my room. I have the fans on a lot. And my bills are usually around 1 million Vietnamese dong, which is about probably less than $50 a month.
Okay. So if you added all of the utilities like water, Wi-Fi, cell, you know, even include cell phone into that, what are you talking total wise?
Cell phones are cheap,
Yep.
cheap here.
Okay.
And my cell phone service, I pay every 6 months. Again, that's about $40. So maybe $80 a year
Okay.
for my Wi-Fi service, which is basically unlimited. Free Wi-Fi everywhere.
Oh
Everybody
wow.
advertises it, but it's de rigueur. Like, why are you even advertising? We know everybody, you know. And cell phone service is quite cheap. Like,
Okay.
you can buy like a card and top up. I probably, again, probably 1 million a year for my internet and stuff on my phone.
Okay.
My water is like $4 a month.
Wow.
Like, is nothing.
So let's try to break that down per month for the viewers. So like for all the utilities, I got 50 electric. Did you say it's 80 for the whole year for cell?
Your internet service is
Internet's
about 80,
for the
and then your
year.
cell phone, you know, your cell phone service is probably another 80.
Okay, so that's 160 for the year. How about and water, as you said, $4 a month or
Yeah,
something?
it's nebulous. It's very cheap water,
Okay.
anywhere from $4 to $6. Oh, not even. It was 40. My last bill was 40,000 Vietnamese dong, which is less than $2.
Oh, okay. So about $2 a month. Wow.
You almost
Okay.
wonder, why are you collecting? Why bother?
Yeah. Okay. So what's the cost of groceries there when you go to a store and you're,
Groceries actually are going up. If you're eating Western food, like butter and cheese, dairy is just, it's going up in Canada as well. People are going through the roof, the price of eggs and things like that.
yeah.
However, if you're eating very fresh, delicious Vietnamese food, your grocery bills would probably, I would say, be less than $50. I mean, you can go out for a nice, there's certain Vietnamese foods that my house angel doesn't even cook, because you go out to eat. By the time you buy all the ingredients to make it, you go to the restaurant that makes that, like Ban Sao. I don't know if you're familiar with any Vietnamese food, but Ban Sao is like they call it a Vietnamese pancake. It's not a pancake, it's more like a crepe. But it comes with like all these leaves and herbs and, the fish sauce and the spice. And you cut off a piece and you mix it and roll it and you eat with your fingers and it drips down your lap. So good. But it's like $4 and you waddle away home,
Yeah.
never to eat till the next day. So you can eat street food here for anywhere. A good, really good, $2, $5 for really good, healthy, wonderful food. And here's the thing about street food. I don't know, Anthony Bourdain. This was, the famous cook. This
Yeah.
was one of his favorite places, to come to Vietnam and eat the street food. People say, oh, the street food. But the thing is, he explained it best. These people, like the people on my street, every morning, they, at 6 o'clock, they're out there with whatever their specialty is. And when it sells out, they're done for the day and they start again tomorrow. They make it fresh. They get up at 3 o'clock in the morning. They start cooking. They start getting it fresh. They use the best ingredients.
Hmm.
And if they screw up, their business is gone.
Sure. Yeah.
Everything rides on that reputation of what they sell, as opposed to, the Marriott that has the same buffet fluffed up and rejuvenated every day, and you're eating that. So I mean, that's not mine. That's Anthony said, but it makes a lot of sense that this is their business on the street.
Yeah.
So don't hesitate. You see a lot of people sitting around eating. Don't go. I want to eat here. This is where it's happening.
Yeah.
And it's cheap and it's really good and it's fresh. Fresh.
Yeah. How
My
much?
house angel does not know how to open a can. Does not know how to open a can.
Yeah.
She goes to
Wow.
the market. She buys what she's going to cook. It's all fresh. Brings it here, cleans it, cooks it, done.
Wow.
So
That's fantastic. So
really good food.
how much does it cost for a good bowl of pho?
Oh, anywhere from again, depends on the size. You can have a gigantic but usually they're anywhere from, again, depends on what area of the city too, but anywhere from $2 to $5.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's our favorite food. We got a few Vietnamese restaurants here, and we eat pho every week. And
Yeah.
I have a 12-year-old that it's his favorite food. That's why we go all the time, because it's his favorite food.
Yeah, and it's good for you. Like whatever's cooked in it stays in it. Like you're eating
Yeah,
all that
very
goodness.
healthy, very good food. Very, very
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So then, all right. So if you're gonna, okay, so we looked at about $50 a month for groceries. If you think about entertainment, Emily, if you go out, even like, paying for a movie or per month, or you're just going out on the town or going to restaurants, how much would you spend per month for entertainment?
Well, I don't actually go out a lot, but I have a friend who has property in Dong Nai, which is sort of the next province over. And I would take a motorbike taxi, what we call, like, it's like an Uber, It's called Grab or Gojek. But instead of hiring a car, which you can, I hired the motorbike because I don't need a car. And I go to his place, which is on the river, wildlife, birds, beautiful nature, a great place to just chill, have a nice dinner. I would say probably for the weekend, $2 million. That's about $100. Also, you can take there's places nearby that are close to the beach. And also, again, for retirees, a lot of them choose to live outside the city in places like Vung Tau or Phan Thiet or Nha Trang, which are probably a lot cheaper than Saigon in terms of rent. But there's a good expat community there, and there's beach, there's walking, hiking. You know, there's really good cycling, and again, it would be a lot cheaper. But if you went to Vung Tau, there's a fast boat that costs about $10 to get there, and which goes down the Saigon River and then comes out to the ocean. To Vung Tau. And you go to Vung Tau for a weekend, a hotel is, $20, $30. You can get on the beach, you can have some, good barbecue and things like that. In the city,
but Emily, how much would you spend? I mean, if you think about your entertainment, even if you don't do it a lot per month and you go out to restaurants, it sounds like you do a lot of like street food. How much would you say you spend per month?
Well, I don't just do street food. There's some great, not that I'm a vegetarian strictly, but there's some really good vegetarian restaurants here, and really good, like all different kinds. There's sushi, there's Korean barbecue, there's, so I go there as well. So I would say and the movies aren't that expensive. I'd say they're probably about maybe $5 or $6 to go and see a movie in a proper theater. We have IMAX theater where you wear the glasses and that's a bit more expensive, but like a regular theater, it's not expensive. But dinner out at high end is probably about $25, $30. And then dinner out with a group on street level is $5, maybe including beers and stuff, maybe it'd be $10. So I wouldn't say I go out a lot, but I probably go out at least once or twice a week.
Okay.
So we say probably about maybe I'd say roughly $40 to $50 a week if you are really social, like going out for meeting friends for drinks and things like that.
Okay, so about $160 a month.
Yeah, but again, it depends on where you live too.
Yeah,
it depends on where you go.
Okay.
But if you do retire in the in the smaller towns outside, like on the ocean, which is very attractive to a lot of retirees too. As I said, there's expats. Like there's a huge expat group in Phan Thiet. Phan Thiet is actually
how do you spell that?
It's PHAMN PHIET, Phan Thiet. But it's outside of the city called, Phan Thiet is the city, Mui Ne, MUI, and then new word NE. Mui Ne is outside of Phan Thiet, right on the beautiful beach. Lots of retirement homes there. Lots of people have retired there. Golf courses, casino, and nice nightlife. That kind of great place for going for walks on the beach, and very, very, very safe. Vietnam is very safe, very safe.
Yeah. So when you break it down for like getting around, you mentioned you jump on an Uber transportation. What does that cost approximately a month?
Ridiculous. Yeah, it's like my transport is made to go back and forth from school every day, which is about 3.5 kilometers from my house, is probably about $4
Okay.
back and forth.
And you do that 5 days a week?
It's very cheap. The transport is very cheap here. Even taxis are not that bad. Like taxis from the airport, from the airport to my house, I think is about 10 or 12 kilometers, and a taxi would be $20.
Would you say that you're
I
paying
remember in Canada taking a cab to the airport from Toronto, $80. So
would you say that you pay about, so if you do $4 to school and back each day, that's $20 a week. Would you say you do about $80 per month transportation?
yeah, maybe more, because I go out I use it on the weekends as well to go meet friends and stuff.
Okay.
But also, I mean, you can buy a motorbike. You can get a motorbike license, and or if you're a little bit more well off, you can actually hire a car and a driver. But
Okay.
there's a lot of people here ride motorbikes. It's very common. I don't, because I like to arrive with a smile on my face.
Yeah.
I'm not a driver. I never was. I like to sit there, going, oh, what the heck? Oh, look at that. What's down that street? So
it is nice not to have to drive.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what do you do for healthcare? What do you do? What do people do for healthcare?
There's a lot of different options. I have a healthcare that's out of, I believe it's French, but it's French Vietnamese. It's called Luma. There's many different packages though. And you can get it. I would never live here without extensive health insurance, but my health insurance is emergency only. So basically, my premium is a bit lower because my deduction is like $1,000.
Okay.
So it's if I'm in a big accident, or it's serious. To go to the doctor for like an earache, or my throat sore, or I've got a tummy bug, it's cheap as chips. Like it's $30 for a visit.
Gotcha.
For a very good, the brand new clinic opened across the street from me. It's 4 years old. Most everyone speaks English.
Yeah.
So, and there's even lower ones in other districts. That just is really close to me. But you can do Vietnamese hospitals and clinics, or you can go high end to like an international clinic, which is very expensive. But it's a gamble not to be covered. And I actually do have another Canadian friend. She's in her 80s, and she said, you know what? Oh, where'd you go? Oh, she's rolling the dice, and she doesn't have insurance. And she actually did get hospitalized. I think she was in the hospital for maybe a week or 10 days.
Mm-hmm.
She was on a drip. She had, the full service, and it cost her $6,000.
Okay.
So, and she hadn't been insured for like 10 years. I mean, my insurance was, $1,500, $2,000. It's a little bit more now because I've crossed over into an older bracket, but
how much do you pay for your insurance?
My insurance is $22,000 US. Sorry, 2,200.
2,200.
So you're right.
So you're paying like what, 100, and what is that, about under 200 a month?
Yeah.
Okay. You said 2,200 or 2,100?
About 2,200 a
Okay, and
year.
that's per year.
Yeah.
Okay. You're saying you pay 2,200 a year for an insurance, but you do out of pocket visits if you have like the flu or a
Yeah.
cold,
Yeah.
and you're like it's
Yeah.
a
So
really
insurance is expensive,
okay.
but I think it is worth it if you're living overseas. But like I said, my friend doesn't, and you can gamble that, but I
Yeah.
wouldn't.
Yeah, I mean, what happens if you don't have the $6,000 to pay? What do they do?
I think there are charity places that would, or there actually is quite a network here of expats of, you know, different sites that you'll see somebody needs blood or somebody's been in a accident. Can anybody help out? Or I mean, there is that kind of a community. I I can't believe the hospital would turn you down, but they might send you to a lower end hospital. Really,
Okay.
I really don't know what would happen, but I don't think you'd be kicked out on the street. They're not that inhumane here.
Right. Yeah.
Vietnamese are quite kind, but and as I said, there's networks. I mean, there are things that somebody's had a bad accident, and I don't really know them, or I kind of know that friend of their friend, and we're all kind of incestuously related. You
Yeah.
know, so we do help each other out where we can, I guess. But I think it's better to take care of yourself. Don't be a burden on other people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. Well, that's all I have. Is there anything else that you can think of we haven't covered that might costs or any other additional cost that the viewers uh
It's very cheap to travel here,
okay.
and to to get out of the city is quite easy by bus or train. There's beautiful train trips, and there's a lot of new places that are opening up, like the Phung Nha Caves, the deepest caves in the world, and you can take a boat through them, and it's gorgeous up there. And that was actually originally on the Ho Chi Minh Trail, which you could actually take a bus onto that historic roadway. Now it's all quite open now. Now it's not a secret anymore. Like, when I first came here, Vietnam was still a war. People would equate Vietnam, and of course it wasn't. The war was long over. But now I think Vietnam has become more a household word. It's not, maybe it's still a bit exotic, like Cambodia and Laos. And however, I think the stigma is lifting so much as people come over and go, man, it was so beautiful and the people were so friendly and it was so cheap. And, you can get clothes made here for next. I always say to my friends, if you've got a shirt or a dress that you love and it's on its way out, bring it over and get it made in 6 different, materials, and you can keep it going. That
Mm-hmm.
kind of stuff. Like you can get a lot of goods here that are, you know, um, really well made and fun. There's a lot of interesting villages. Like Hoi An is probably one of the most unique, apart from Ha Long Bay, which is stunningly beautiful. Hoi An is a very unique place in Vietnam because of the influence of the traders coming in and the history of that area. If you're in Saigon or you're in Hanoi or you're in parts of Da Nang or whatever, you wouldn't know. Like they all architecturally, signage, the way the streets run, traffic. But Hoi An is extremely unique. It's a definitely a place to see. But again, for retirement, don't necessarily think about moving to Saigon. Think about moving to near the ocean where you're an hour from Saigon. You can still come in and do a weekend or see sights, but be it in the ocean, fresher air, go for long walks, great food there too, and much healthier lifestyle living on the ocean. So And don't be afraid. Like, people say, oh, I hear it's not safe, and it's a lie. Vietnam, I've never worried about personal safety. Don't be an idiot, but of course, be careful. But and I have been ripped off where I pointed at something with my purse dangling out of my hand, and gone. But you go out with whatever you can lose. Like, don't bring your passport and your life savings and all your family heirlooms with you. Just
Sure.
live humbly and be aware. But and there's petty crime everywhere. It's not. But safety here is just. I've left my door open, unlocked. The next morning, I go downstairs and I think, I've left my door open. Like, anybody could have come in my house. And I've done that a couple of times. So that, like, knock on wood, but yes, I live in a very safe, wonderful country. Fun. No snow. Did I say no snow?
Yeah, you're from the cold country, Canada.
Oh, yeah, I'm from the land of Phil and Tony Esposito,
Yeah. Well,
Ice
Emily,
skating
man,
and hockey.
Emily Huckson, thanks so much for taking the time to be a part of the
My
podcast.
pleasure. All right. Have a nice day. I'm going to bed now.
Okay, yeah. Have a good sleep. All right, you take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right, bye.